Hello everybody, welcome back to another Bible study. Today we're going to be in Genesis 20, dealing with Abraham and Abimelech. So follow along if you can. And Abraham journeyed from there to the south and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur and stayed in Gerar. Now Abraham said to Sarah his wife, "She is my sister." And Abimelech king of Gerar sent and took Sarah. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said to him, "Indeed you are a dead man because of a woman whom you have taken, for she is a man's wife." But Abimelech had not come near her. And he said, "Lord, will you slay a righteous nation also? Did he not say to me, 'She is my sister'?" And she even herself said, "He is my brother. In the integrity of my heart and innocence of my hands I have done this." So he, by the looks of it, asked Abraham for Sarah, and Abraham says yeah. And then God comes to Abimelech, king of Gerar, in a dream and tells him these things. And I find it interesting that he's a king, that he's a righteous king. So it's not just it's a king that serves the God of Israel. And God said to him, "Yes, I know that you did this in the integrity of your heart." So he says, "I know your intentions are pure. For I also withheld you from sinning against me, therefore I did not let you touch her." So God prevented, a note is God prevented Abimelech from sinning. "Now therefore restore the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you, and you shall live." It may be a prophet, one of the prophets, something a prophet is required to do is pray for other people. Maybe, I don't know. "But if you do not restore her, know that you shall surely die, you and all who are yours." So Abimelech arose early in the morning, called all the servants, and told all these things in their hearing, and the men were very much afraid. And Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, "What have you done to us? How have I offended you, that you brought on me and my kingdom a great sin? You have done deeds to me that ought not to be done." Then Abimelech said to Abraham, What did you have in view, and that you have done this thing?" Verse 11, and Abraham said, "Because I thought surely the fear of God is not in this place." So he said, "I thought that you, Abimelech, that you were not a righteous person, that you would do the customs of all the other people surrounding you. But indeed she is truly my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother. She became my wife, and it came to pass when God caused me to wander from my father's house that I said to her, 'This is your kindness that you should do for me. In every place wherever we go, say of me, he is my brother.'" So it's like it's an SOP, a standard operating procedure, that whenever they go into a land, that Abraham says, "She's my sister," so that there's no funny business going on. And you will see, later on, that this is the case. Then Abimelech took sheep, oxen, and male and female servants, and gave them to Abraham, and he restored Sarah his wife to him. And Abimelech said, "See, my land is before you, dwell where it pleases you." So Abimelech, as a sign of kindness, he gives him all sorts of possessions. Then to Sarah he said, "Behold, I have taken your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Indeed, this vindicates you before all who are with you, and before everybody." Thus she was rebuked. So Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech his wife and his female servants. Then they bore children, for the Lord had closed up all the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. We're at 4 minutes, yeah. We'll do 21. Chapter 21. And the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did for Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bore Abraham a son in his old age at the time set of God, of which God had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son whom Sarah bore to him, Isaac. Then Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when she was 8 days old, as God had commanded him. Now Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him, and Sarah said, God has made me laugh, and all who hear will laugh with me. She also said, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children, for I have borne him a son in his old age. So the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast on the same day that Isaac was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, whom she had borne to Abraham, scoffing. Then she said to Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, namely with Isaac. And the matter was very displeasing in Abraham's sight because of his son. But God said to Abraham, do not let it be displeasing in your sight because of the lad or because of your bondwoman. Whatever Sarah has said to you, listen to her voice, for in Isaac your seed shall be called. So God says, let this happen. I got a plan. Yet it will also make a nation of the son of the bondwoman, because he is your seed. So on the merit of Abraham, he made Ishmael great as well. That just shows how great Abraham really is. He was a man. He was not perfect. He makes lots of mistakes, but he was a good dude. So Abraham rose early in the morning and took bread and a skin of water, putting it on her shoulder, and gave it and the boy to Hagar, and sent her away. Then she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba, and the water in the skin was used up, and she placed the boy under one of the shrubs. Then she went and sat down from across with him at a distance of about a bow shot, for she said to herself, let me not see the death of the boy. So she sat opposite of him and lifted her voice and wept. Then God heard the angel of the lad. Then the angel of God called to Hagar out of heaven and said to her, what ails you, Hagar? Fear not, for God has heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise, lift up the lad, and hold him with your hand, for I will make him a great nation. Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. And she went and filled the skin with water, and gave the lad a drink. So God was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness, and became an archer. He dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took a wife for him in the land of Egypt. So if we go back, this story was, let's see here. Yeah, this is kind of a reiteration from chapter 15 and 16. Verse 22. And it came to pass at that time that Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, spoke to Abraham, saying, God is with you in all that you do. Now therefore swear to me by God that you will not deal falsely with me, with my offspring, or with my posterity, but that according to your kindness that I have done to you, you will do to me and to the land in which you have dwelt. And Abraham said, I will swear. Verse 25, Then Abraham rebuked Abimelech because of the well of water that Abimelech's servants had seized. And Abimelech said, I do not know who has done this thing. You did not tell me, nor I had heard of it until this day. So I don't know what the heck happened. So Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them to Abimelech, and two of them made a covenant, and Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. Then Abimelech said to Abraham, What is the meaning of the 7 ewe lambs which you have set by themselves? And he said, You will take these 7 ewe lambs from my hand, and they will be my witness that I have dug this well. Therefore he called that place Beersheba, because the two of them swore an oath there. Thus they made a covenant with Beersheba. So Abimelech rose with, something I wanted to point out. We'll see later on in the Torah, witness is very important. Out of the 2 or 3, a matter shall be established. And here we have Abraham taking sheep as a witness. And you find later on that interesting things are used as witnesses against people or for them. Verse 23 or verse 32. Thus they made a covenant with Beersheba. So Abimelech rose with Phicol, the commander of his army, and they returned to the land of the Philistines. Then Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba, and there called on the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham stayed in the land of the Philistine many days. So we'll stop there. Not a lot to talk on. Just a reiteration of a story we read earlier, and some controversy with Abimelech. So thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.